It's Monday, February 23rd, 2015. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, Lenovo and how you should never buy anything from them ever again.
Let's do this.
So, technology, we're always advocates of how technology lets you keep every conversation you ever have, and you can sort of search through and resolve arguments, and the internet doesn't forget. Well, I'm glad that we're living by the sword and dying by the exact same sword, because it turns out
I'm not dying. I'm all right.
You're losing $20.
Big deal.
Live by the $20.
You don't have $20. You got a problem with monies?
You can't pay. You got to pay the poor man's bet, not the rich man's bet. So back in 2012, in the on Geeknights.
When was that?
Yeah, ancient times. Quetzalcoatl never showed up too. Waiting for him. We did a show and we were talking about OS X and Mountain Lion and Gatekeeper and all that stuff. And Scott and I kind of doubled down on a position we took, and we made a bet. In fact, not only did we make a bet, but this is notable because Scott doesn't fucking ever make bets. Scott was so sure, and so was I, that what I bet was, and you're going to see why this is kind of fail now, quoting myself. Well, first, Scott, I will bet money. Within 3 years, you won't be able to install non-App Store software on Apple computers.
All right, well, I got the time frame wrong, but that has definitely been going in that direction. Yeah. And give it some number of more years that I will not bet on.
No, you're not going to bet anymore. You're not as sure.
It is going to happen. It's coming. It's been happening since then, and it's happening more.
So my bet was, and I quote, I will bet $100 that Scott is right, with the qualifier that if Apple actually removes it, the option that lets you sideload, but some hacker finds a supported way around it, I will still win. Mm-hmm. So if someone cracked or hacked or got around it, I didn't lose the bet.
Sure.
And I bet that in 2012, and there's some follow-up discussion where people are...
Yeah, but at least today, if you buy a brand new MacBook Pro, you can install things on it, and Apple doesn't try to stop you.
So some days ago, not very long ago, someone tweeted at me, and they tweeted at me a screenshot. It was a screenshot of a notification on their phone reminding them that the deadline for the bet was coming up. And yeah, we lost that bet. So I owe our friend George $100, and Scott owes him $20.
This is why I don't bet a lot of money.
Yep.
And somewhat related to that, I've made a habit of when I look things up on the internet that are from olden times, I look at dates on Wikipedia of things.
Oh.
Right?
Trying to match up what happened when.
Right. It's maybe I'll find a video game, right? And I'll look up some old video game, and I'd be what was the release date for Super Metroid? Right? And then I'll see what it was. And then I go in my calendar, and I'll go to the significant round number anniversary, 25th anniversary or something, and I'll put in Super Metroid 25th anniversary on my Google Calendar. And then one day that happens, and then you can tweet it or whatever, and people are whoa, and no one else tweeted it. You.
So a better way to go about that, why don't you just use TweetDeck and schedule that shit?
Because then you got to, let's say the 50th anniversary of something, right? That TweetDeck still has to be running then.
True.
It's,
yeah,
it's
going
easier
that
to get
far
a Google,
out.
the Google, and you might not
want
want
Plus, what if Hitler 3 rises on that same day and the whole world is going crazy, and you're hey guys, the 50th anniversary of Mario.
Yeah,
yeah,
stuff like that. Just find, whenever you look up something old, look at the date, and then find an anniversary and put it on your Google Calendar. And it's interesting.
Yeah,
when you get the notification on that day, you'll be oh shit, that's blank years old? Fuck me. Fuck me.
It gets real bad with movies, and especially when it's movies that I saw in the theater. Mm-hmm. That is a big differentiator for me being an old man. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we were, never, ever imply that we won't admit it when we're wrong. We made a prediction 3 years ago in technology, and we were fucking completely wrong.
We're wrong on the time frame. I still think we'll be wrong on the fact.
I don't think so anymore. I think these sideload options will remain indefinitely.
I think that either Mac OS X will disappear entirely.
Well, yes, because OS XI will come and replace it.
Or continue to be more locked down over time as it has been.
Except it's opened up in a lot of ways.
In what ways?
Quote, instead of Dropbox having to do kernel hack stuff to change the icons to sync folders, Apple made them gave them an API they could use to change that.
Oh my God.
Apple let them use this feature in the same release that they launched CloudKit, which could be seen as a competitor. I'm quoting Luke Burge in the forum, where he basically argues vociferously against your assertion that they're locking down more as time goes on. There is the secondary issue where they're
changing icons. Oh man, that's just so not locking down.
There is the secondary. There's kind of two separate things. There's the can you load applications that you wrote or that aren't in the App Store or aren't approved or blessed. And then there's the do they enforce apps that are in the App Store to follow certain requirements. And on that side, the latter side, they're definitely going down that direction.
Well, they've always been in that direction.
I kind of feel like Android should go down that same direction.
Well, I don't think you should enforce restrictions on people of like how they... There's certain kinds of restrictions that are okay and certain kinds that aren't, right?
That's true.
Apple, for example, will not let you make a porn app and put it in their app store.
No, I think that's bad.
Even if that porn app is absolutely in every way completely legal and there's a parental control or whatever the fuck you want or, et cetera, they will not allow it. And they have often, porn, when you see it, Apple has often blocked... and sometimes gone back on their blockage or denials or rejections, but not always. Apps that, contain sexual content or violent content or whatever that is not actually porn or it's perhaps of an artistic or other, worthwhile nature. And, those sorts of things are not cool to say you can't come in my app store because there's some boobies, on this album cover. Who knows?
But, for example, there are things that you can do in Android apps that just fuck the battery.
Yes.
And I feel
they are checking for the general... One thing I do agree is that if you're going to put something in an app store that's, verified, that somebody should have, I'm trusting that because it's the official app store, right? And it's like... You sort of, as a person, don't have the mental capacity to trust and distrust individual things. If I trust the App Store, I have to trust everything in it. I can't, I do not trust download.com or anything on it. I can't, if I have to then suddenly trust some things on download.com and not others, that's a huge pain in the ass.
Exactly.
So if I'm going to trust the official Google Play Store of apps or the official iOS Store of apps, I need to know that none of those apps have malwares. None of them will actively harm my device or ruin the performance. Etc. There's a list of quality issues that need to be addressed by who is ever approving what goes in there.
Exactly. And I'm really okay with those kinds of restrictions.
Yeah. Some of them are okay, and some, but if I want to install the Make My Phone Explode app, I should be able to go and download it of my own volition. What was that
app that I found? I think I used it as a thing today a long time ago, but you used the accelerometer and the GPS, and the goal was throw your phone as hard as you can up and then catch it, and your high score is how high it got.
Yep. Great app.
But I don't think Apple is going to restrict or prevent people from unchecking that box that says, yeah, install some bullshit if I want. I think that's going to still be an option for the foreseeable future.
Eventually.
I don't think eventually ever.
I think eventually.
I don't think so. I think at least in the Y plus 30, so 30 years-ish, confident.
You're really stretching the time frame out.
Yeah. I was 100% wrong, and I fully accept that.
I only got the time frame wrong.
Yeah.
I still believe.
Yeah, all right.
I only got the time frame wrong. I still believe.
Believe.
The end is nigh. I can't say when, though.
So, in other news, you know that Google acquired Waze, and they kind of integrated that stuff.
What did they acquire?
Waze.
Waze?
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 You don't know about Waze?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
So, Waze was an app that basically...
How do you spell this?
W-A-Z-E.
Okay. Are they trying to be cute, like W-A-Y-S? But they spelled it W-A-Z-E, but pronounce it the same?
I guess it's just pronounced Waze. Like I never thought about it because basically it was an app you could use and it would tell you about traffic and navigation.
But Google Maps tells you about traffic and navigation.
Yeah, so Google Maps used to do it kind of shittily. Google bought them.
Google Maps does it really well. They've done it really well since Google Maps stopped sucking, which was like in its second year.
See, now you say that, but actually Google Maps directions, like live navigation, was really bad at routing you around accidents and traffic.
I don't know. For about 2 years, Google Maps was garbage, and then it became good.
You're talking about like 2003, like that kind of era.
Yeah. I remember when it was brand new, we were like, fuck Google Maps.
Yep.
I mean, it looks better, but MapQuest actually tells you where the fuck to go.
That was true.
And doesn't send you down a one-way street to die.
That was in fact true. I didn't.
Right.
Google Maps was the worst.
And in about 2 years, they stopped sucking and beat MapQuest, and then people were like, "What's MapQuest?" And ever since then, Google Maps has been pretty much perfect compared to other competitors.
Yes.
There's been no reason to use anything else.
No, yeah. Except I drive a lot. Just like taking people places. I'm kind of like the chauffeur at this point. And even though neither one of us owns a car, I just have the zip car. But Waze had way better like speed trap, alternate route.
Isn't
oh my god,
speed trap info somewhat illegal in some places?
No,
under
those
some
court
conditions?
cases pretty much always get overturned.
That's good.
Yeah,
we won something.
That's free speech. We usually win those in the end.
Good job.
But basically, Waze had much better data, and what Waze would do that Google Maps didn't do for a long time was, say you're driving and there's an accident like right now. It would very likely be able to tell you, yo, dog, get off the freeway, the next exit or you're fucked. Like right then, like real time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, Google Maps, even today, it doesn't reroute. It's like you when you ask for the directions, it gets you a route, and you choose that route. And then it locks that route in and won't reroute
you say that
unless you go off the route. Then it will reroute you.
You see, this is what changed. I don't know if it works on iPhone, but at least on Android, if you're driving now, what it does
Well, I've never actually used the driving one.
Yeah. So
I used the walking and the biking.
Yeah, I've used the Navigator one. Well, it does this for walking and everything too. It'll always constantly be showing you, just like on the map, gray offshoots. Like, this is a juncture where you could take this alternate route.
Yeah, you can see the routes there because they're the same ones that were there when you asked for directions.
But it does
in the
it
first
live
place.
while you're navigating, and it flags any route that is currently, based on current right now data, faster than the route you're on right now. So if an accident happens on like the freeway ahead of you,
but it doesn't automatically switch you to that route. It just puts a little flag.
it pops up and says, "Yo, you want to try this other route?"
All right. I've never seen that happen even once.
Because it's only started happening.
And I guess it would only be likely to happen driving because that's where traffic is.
Yes. And it only started happening after they bought Waze, and Waze was just really good at figuring out ways. That's
what I'm saying. That's why it's called that.
The Beatles.
So Google bought Waze and used it to make Google Maps better?
So they finally integrated all that shit into Google Maps, and here's the problem. It's not a problem. It's a problem for people who suck. Tons of people, particularly in LA, are suing or are otherwise super pissed because now there's a ton of traffic in their neighborhoods because Google Maps is telling people smart ways to get around traffic jams.
Okay.
So suddenly, like before, we're like I-84 would just be blocked because there's an accident on the bridge. Now, Waze will tell everyone all the different ways to go. And as the ways around that start getting saturated, it finds other ways because it's using live data from all the other people driving.
Mm-hmm.
So people are super mad that roads that were once quiet, it turns out if you analyze the data, are the best way to get places, and people are making maximum efficient use of the existing roads, making traffic flow faster and pissing off NIMBYs.
Well, listen, you have two choices. Number one, you can shut up, or number two, we can knock your house down and put a train there. Those are your choices. No other choice is allowed.
So yeah, basically these complaints are ridiculous. You can never fault people for using available information and technology to make systems more efficient.
I can find one fault, which is if, and this is only if, I don't know this has happened, if it routed someone down a private road, that person with the private road can complain.
Yes,
but
I agree.
If you own a private road, fuck you, rich asshole. You can get a helicopter to work, and you can get some earplugs because you're so goddamn rich you have a private road. So go fuck yourself. If you complained about someone driving in a private road to avoid traffic, I don't see any problem drowning you.
But it's amazing. Like, people, these people who are mad.
Go out and get hit by the car.
Here's a quote from the article. When the people whose houses hug the narrow warren of streets paralleling the busiest urban freeway in America began to see bumper-to-bumper traffic crawling by their homes a year or so ago, they were baffled.
Okay.
Like, no one had ever figured out there were shortcuts until now. Or a few people did. Suddenly, those shortcuts are part of the road system.
Mm-hmm.
So the technology behind this is amazing, and I think
maybe
it's
you should
actually...
have and you also could have made your roads not suck, but it's too late for that, so trains.
Yep, live in New York. It's really the only place with trains.
Yeah, don't live in L.A.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do you live there?
There's a big reason why a lot of people ask me, hey, would you consider moving out to somewhere in California to have a job?
No.
And I was like, would I need to own a car? Is it not New York?
Is the place you are asking me to live in the Empire State?
What did I tell? I told one guy recently, if I was willing to leave New York, I would have tried to work for Valve like a decade ago.
Listen, if I was willing to leave New York, I saw the original job posting from Justin TV looking for the person to start Twitch, and it basically, if you find that job posting and read it, at the time it was basically skills of Scott.
That is true. I remember that because Scott sent me.
I could have applied to that job.
I could probably find that chat we had because you messaged me and you were like, check this out.
I could have applied to that job and had a very good chance of getting that job if I was willing to go to California, which I wasn't then and I'm not now.
Nope, I'm even less willing to do it now.
So,
good
and
God.
I think that's the last job posting I saw that I said, that is a job that I want. I have not seen such a job posting since then.
So anyway, you got any news being Monday after our long hiatus?
Well, since there was such a hiatus, we missed a very important news where the commissioner of the FCC was actually influenced by our deluge of comments, and despite not actually revealing his full proposal, the summary of it is pretty much he's going in our favor. And they're going to vote on it real soon.
This is getting real complicated because net neutrality
February 26th, so 3 days.
It's like the Democrats have this really wide and derpy, a range of opinions on this issue. When really they don't have any opinions because I don't think any of them really understand it. Maybe Kristen Gillibrand has almost an idea of what this issue is, but no one else understands what it is or why anyone cares about it.
Well, what's his name? Wu, who ran for lieutenant governor.
Oh yeah, there's two.
Who invented the term net neutrality.
Yeah, there are 2 or 3 people almost at the national stage who know about this stuff. But the Republican Party seems to have pretty much come down hard against net neutrality.
Right, because it's, against the people who are paying them money.
Exactly.
Anyway, so, sorry, I said commissioner. He's the chairman, right? The other people in the FCC are the commissioners. So it's like a chairman with a little council of commissioners, right?
Yep.
So he is basically the one time in the past, my lifetime, the government has worked.
Maybe.
Well, remember, government has appeared to almost work.
Congress is already... You realize the government is going to shut down again over that immigration thing. We're already...
Maybe. But it appears that government has almost... Democracy may work soon. The signs are... It's like that clock that never rings. The hammer next to the bell is pulled back. It hasn't rung. We got 3 days.
Quote, to date, Wheeler has released a 4-page fact sheet about his proposal, which would reclassify broadband internet under stricter and more utility-like laws.
Right. So the actual plan is 332 pages, but only 8 of those pages contain the rules. The rest of it is just legal justifications and other bullshit that you don't need to actually read unless you're some lawyer or whatnot. But
you're a law nerd.
But someone's job was to write that fucking thing. God bless them. So anyway, the Republican commissioners, right, who are pretty much going to lose this vote if it goes down in 3 days, are basically like, let's delay. We got to delay. Why haven't you released the full 332-page thing publicly, and why haven't let people comment on that? And
now, part of the reason is because the Republicans are trying to delay it so that they can try to get Congress to pass a bunch of rules
before the FCC can do anything.
Yeah, they're trying to get in and precede and thus supersede anything the FCC wants to do itself.
See, even if they do that, it may bite them in the ass if they act too quickly and write up some bill that is not, carefully written.
Yeah, because
if you take powers away from the FCC, many other things that they do may get messed up in a way that they don't like. But
Yep.
anyway,
You know, it's interesting because parts of what the FCC does, I'm really against, and parts of what it does, I'm really for. So making it more or less powerful kind of equally serves some of my interests in different ways.
But anyway, the chairman, Wheeler, said, we received more than 4 million comments in the past year. It's time to do something. And that was in a tweet he wrote today. But he's pretty much like, you want to stop and have more comments? We had 4 million comments. All right, we're just going to vote. And you're going to vote the way I want, which is yes.
Yep.
And that would be good.
We'll see, though, because like I said, it's pretty much just a partisan issue at this point.
Right. Now, could there be, it is true, though, that while the summary of the rules changes is pretty much 100% what we want, almost. I mean, 90% what we want. Can't really complain, right? He hasn't released those 8 pages of actual legal wording rules changes or the other 320 whatever pages of legal nonsense. Maybe they're lying to us, and actually they're going to vote yes, and we're going to go yay, and then we're going to see the actual rules and go, you lied to us. Fuck you. Government is just what we thought it was.
Yeah, well, like that anti-gerrymandering bill in New York that was actually just entrenching gerrymandering forever.
Yes, that one.
Yep. That a lot of people voted for.
But at least there is more hope now that government will work correctly on one issue than ever before, not since FDR.
It's interesting because it's an issue where despite the money that gets donated, the Republicans in particular who are, nominally against net neutrality, they could let this one slide because their base cares much more about racist stuff than it does about network stuff.
But the people who give them money,
they could lose that money,
like
but at
Comcast,
the same time, if they have to give up something.
But here's the thing I understand. Right? It's like, okay, so I'm an evil congressperson, and Comcast gives me money every year to run, right?
Yep, and I need that money or I won't get reelected.
Okay, so, I fight for Comcast, right? And I vote in their favor, and I, try to write laws for them that don't get passed. And every year they give me more money. And then this happens, and net neutrality happens. I couldn't stop it from happening. Oh, well, they keep giving me money. I don't actually have to get any fucking results for them.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to stop giving me money.
They might.
If I vote, and what? If I vote friggin' yes, net neutrality, I like it. You think they're going to stop giving me money?
Probably.
I don't know.
I
don't think so. They just keep giving money to people. They don't stop. Yeah, they got to give money to somebody.
It's interesting because the
other congressman's going to say, no, I don't want your money.
The ultra psycho conservatives on the Republican side, they are kind of safe because even if they lose a lot of their money streams, it's hard to displace them unless you come in further right than them. There's not a lot of room over there. Anyway, things of the day. I'm a big fan of old futurism, like the visions of the future from the past. So this is a huge collection of advertisements that from the Bone Aluminum and Brass Corporation from Detroit from the 40s, the 1940s. And the art is basically all super high concept design of the future. I don't know enough about art to classify this more than just calling it futurism. I don't really know, but I really like it. And it reminds me a lot of that Italian futurism thing that we saw, except much more Akira-esque in some fashions. And apparently being aerodynamic meant...
Because having motorcycles makes you Akira-esque?
Well, that motorcycle is pretty Akira-esque, that one in particular.
Any weird motorcycle is Akira-esque.
To a degree, yes,
that is true. You could say that Akira is Bon-esque. Considering that it came much, much later.
As long as Akira does not give you a bon air.
I don't think there's anything in that movie or manga that should give any normal, not perverted person a bon air.
You qualified that pretty harshly right there.
I mean, there's someone who's going to get a bon air looking at a rock, right? So.
Rockkin.
Sure.
Geodude.
He's got those, I have the toy where what's it called? It's the toy where he turns into a rock, but he's
that's
actually
just regular
a dude.
porn.
No, there's a toy, Rockmaster or something, where Maybe.
Uh-huh.
No, I have the I have the
what?
stupid
The what?
toy. Oh, I have the toy.
Rockmaster, this guy?
No, I forget the name of it. It was something bots, and
Okay,
what
'cause
was it? What was the not Transformers crappy bots?
There were several?
Yeah, the one that actually had the word bots in it or something.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that is my thing of the day. That's
Sure.
the coolest thing I saw.
So here's a video.
In the hiatus.
My thing of the day, right? And this thing of the day, actually, much like Geeknights, happens to be Creative Commons licensed. They
Ah.
are using a attribution, no commercial, share alike license, so the most restrictive possible one. But maybe I don't know. I just decided just now. Maybe I'll try to find Creative Commons things of the day for a while. But anyway, make it a theme. This Creative Commons thing of the day is last episode of no, it's not. Which is very old, the last episode of Geeknights. This is a video on Vimeo called ... Meanwhile ... From Sandro Bocci, who did the images and editing. The music is from Maurizio Morganti. I think it's Italian, perhaps. Special thanks to Mario Fagioli and some other people. Julia Set Collection. That's it. All right.
All right.
So it's featuring Protoreister Linky, Scolimia, Fungia, Trachyphilia, etc. Many strange sea creatures. That's what those are.
Oh.
And in this video, they find the sea creatures. I can't tell if it's in an aquarium or the bottom of the sea. And these are sea creatures that look really weird, but move really slow. They're not, they're the kind of thing that sits still and doesn't do a lot, right?
So specifically weird and slow is the niche.
Right. And they did a time-lapse video, so it looks like it's moving at normal speed. And they also did a high magnification. So now you can see, for example, a coral or a starfish moving pretty fast. And that's not something you can usually see. I think they also... I don't know if these colors are natural. They could be because sea creatures. The music is not natural. The music was added.
How do you know they're not making that music underwater? they speed up. It's like that Mouth Silence. Did you notice?
Just off camera, Sebastian is there.
Did you notice in Mouth Silence, the Neil Cicerega thing, if you play it at a very high speed, it's got songs from the 90s back, like masked on top of it?
Is that true?
Yes.
Do you have that?
Not immediately at my fingertips right now.
Can you drag the MP3 into Audition and play it at high speed?
Yes, I can do that, and I will edit it into the show.
Okay.
In the meta moment, we're going to be, not this weekend, but next weekend at the Penny Arcade Expo. Right after the last Penny Arcade Expo.
Weren't we just at a Penny Arcade Expo?
Oh my God, there's 5 PAXs a year if you count Dev, and we go to, well, at least one of us goes to all of them.
We've been to all of them. We collectively have been to every PAX since 2008.
Yeah, which means
we missed 4 PAXs, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And
it's been a lot of goddamn PAXs.
If you count it, we've also missed Necroambicon, and I think we missed some devs if you're counting those too.
I skipped a Dev, yeah.
So
on Friday, March 6th at 4:30 p.m. in the Bumblebee Theater.
Thanks for the great time slot and great theater.
Yeah, we're going to be presenting What is Losing.
What is Losing? It is the thing that Rim does. End panel.
You just drop the mic. I stand on stage crying for 55 minutes, and then I suddenly go to Q&A.
Yep.
The book club book is still Watership Down.
Maybe you should update the website.
Because Scott doesn't care about rabbits.
I read some of that book yesterday.
You know why
Kindle
I haven't updated the website? I need the affiliate link.
Oh.
I can't generate those myself.
You could just ask me at any time.
I did. I
asked
asked you many times.
You did not ask me any times.
I asked you many times.
Anyway, I read some of that book yesterday. The Kindle says that I am like 15% done.
Oh, so did the rabbits did they meet any other rabbits yet?
They just met a rabbit who
is weird.
He was really nice, but he was also just like, hey, come on by if you want. And he seemed kind of probably something shady.
Yeah, Scott, those rabbits are cultists. You're gonna really dig the cult rabbits.
You know what is really thing about this book, and I probably should save this for the book club episode, but whatever.
Yeah.
The rabbits, the main character rabbits, basically act the way it's like when you play RPG, a tabletop RPG, you basically don't trust anything.
Oh my God, yeah, they're like
Right? And it's like you're like, nope, whatever it is we just encountered is bad. Nope, this is bad too. Everything is dangerous.
Alex, our game master, you just introduced a new NPC. I'm gonna assume that's a fucking demon in disguise.
And usually be right. So usually when you act like that, it's like people are like, that's so metagaming. Oh, it's so bad. But in this story here, these rabbits are acting just like that, and they're not even RPGing. They're just characters in the story.
Yeah, you know what? It was very. I thought about that too. They're very
but
reminiscent.
you know what? But that's what rabbits are like.
Yeah, they are. There's a term for that when a rabbit telescopes. It's when they there's something they want to check out, so they kind of lean their body, like they extend into a long tube, like just barely next to it, kind of poke it a little bit, and then back way the fuck up and see what it did. Mm-hmm. So I'll telescope in and back up, and telescope in and back up.
They also periscope.
That they do. They periscope up, and then the
ear
radar
look left and right,
and then the ear radar goes diggy,
and then go back in the grass.
But yeah, it's just like us playing D&D. Like everything we bump into, we're like,
they meet this guy. He seems pretty nice, and they're like, I don't know, can we trust this guy? We should dig a hole in the ground. It's not going to be safe with this rain.
Well, the thing is, Fiverr was right in the beginning. He's like, you're all gonna fucking die.
It's also Mouse Guard-esque, or you could say that Mouse Guard is Watership Down-esque.
Yep. Except Mouse Guard,
Bone-esque.
Mouse Guard gives a little more tools in society.
Sure.
Watership Down is a little more like rabbity.
Just rabbits.
Yeah, like they're rabbits. They have the same capabilities that rabbits have.
They don't have swords.
Yeah. They do meet a bird, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So the only other thing, because it's been a while, we're on a long hiatus. We're back pretty much on our normal schedule, hopefully for the foreseeable future. I guess our 1000th episode happened at some point recently because I was looking at the database.
Round numbers, who cares?
Yeah. I still kind of want to do a nth episode party in New York at some point. I'm still looking into that.
It's all you.
It'll be like the 1030th episode party.
It's all you.
But I made a YouTube video that I'm going to tell you about right now. I did a dramatic reading of the Worlds of Power book, Castlevania 2 Simon's
Haven't you
Quest.
been going on that for like 3 years?
Well, no, I read it. I didn't really do anything with it. So our friend Judith did an animatic of the very first bit of that.
Also, I'm better at dramatic reading than you.
Why don't we have dramatic reading off?
Okay.
Because I point out...
Can I use any material I want?
We should both use the same material, I think.
Why?
So we can do a blind test.
Maybe.
With strangers.
Maybe.
Not so confident now, are you?
We'll see.
You're gonna, Scott, the source material I was working with. Do you know how many times I edited out me laughing because I couldn't deal with it? So yeah, that video's on YouTube and it's pretty fucking awesome. So long time ago, I bought a laptop and I got a weird Fujitsu boutique power book.
Well, that's so. You got to go even earlier than that. Steve Pomeroy, who we knew in college.
Oh, the Trio thing he had or whatever?
No. Well, he had a Fujitsu P-Series laptop, which is the tiniest, super widescreen, high-resolution laptop. And it was really expensive from Japan, but it was awesome in that it was tiny, had incredible battery life, considering it was the early 2000s, because you could put 2 batteries in it, one in the CD-ROM slot. And despite being tiny and widescreen, like 10 inches plus, right? The resolution on that screen was way high pixel density for the time.
Yeah, you guys don't understand, but PowerBooks did not exist until relatively recently. The idea of a laptop that was small and powerful and had a long-lasting battery, that shit didn't exist unless you imported something exotic.
Right, well, the one he had a weirdo CPU, but the ones that we got were basically the same model a few years later, and ours had Intel real CPUs in them.
Yep.
Like Core whatnots. So,
but again, weird boutique laptop because it was the only way to get what we wanted.
It's something you had to get from Japan that was expensive and whatnot. So.
I paid a lot of money for that fucking Fujitsu.
It was like
$2,000
$2,000+, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, even that amazing laptop was too slow, and Fujitsu really didn't keep up with that product line very well.
Yep, and also PowerBooks became a thing, and Lenovo, or IBM, the X Series ThinkPads were pretty much the only game in town.
Yeah, in terms of you want a laptop, this is before tablets were they were just garbage in those days, right? Like ViewSonic.
Yeah,
whatever.
don't be like, yeah, you should have bought a Microsoft Surface. Like, yeah, nothing like that existed back then.
Yeah, we're talking, we were probably bought these while we were doing Geek Nights. We lived
Here, I'll
in
look up
Beacon.
exactly the day I bought mine.
Yeah. It's like, I bought mine and I guess, it's a relatively small laptop, right? Like 12 inches-ish. Right? I have one at work also, but full powerful. If you want to do anything other than 3D gaming, because it doesn't have much of a video card, it has an Intel whatever, it does everything else full power. Plenty of RAM, plenty of CPU, plenty of everything.
Okay, so I bought my Fujitsu.
Plenty of battery life.
Fujitsu P8010
Yep.
in 2008.
Okay, that was one newer than mine. I think
Yes.
mine was like a P7000. I don't know.
Yeah, that laptop. I still have it. It actually still works great.
Yeah,
it's
mine
just kind of slow.
No, mine had some issues. I think I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
I think I gave it to someone. I don't know.
I remember it having issues because it was the end. We needed a new laptop for panels pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you got the Lenovo X220.
Mm-hmm. That's
And-
right. At work, I have the 230, which is a shitty touchpad, but still has the good keyboard.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Lenovo basically.
I still have that 220.
Yes, and I bought the 230 because the
The
220
one I have at work.
was old and the 230 was just like the current
Now,
one.
already, the 220 was really the last good one. The touchpad, as I said, in the 230 sucked. And even beyond that, now the keyboard sucks and the touchpad sucks. If you
See,
buy an
I don't know what
X-Series,
the fuck your beef is with that keyboard. That keyboard's fine.
chiclet keyboards can suck my
The
dick.
Chiclet keyboard is fine. I can
Garbage.
type on it just fine. What is
yeah,
wrong
I
with it?
can type on it.
What is wrong with
Just
it?
like I can drive a Yugo or a Ford Fiesta or
Yeah,
whatever.
also, the touchpad on the X220 was no party.
No, it was not great.
But I will
the
admit,
230 is worse.
The 230 was a substantial drop further into the toilet.
Exactly. The MacBook Pro touchpad is still
To this day,
the best.
but for the lack of multi-touch, that Fujitsu P8010 had, like, that touchpad was a goddamn
it was a
dream.
tiny touchpad, but actually it was really, really good for what it was in its day.
It was so sensitive
It's
and
still
so
not
accurate.
still not as good as the Mac one.
Well, yeah, the Mac one is special. I mean, like, the idea of multi-touch didn't
it's
even exist back
magic
then.
trackpad.
It is magic.
Magic.
So, for the longest time, if anyone said, I need a laptop, what I would ask them is, do you care about money, speed, battery life,
Do you
or
really
size?
need a laptop? You can probably get away with an iPad these days.
Yeah,
I mean,
but money, speed, battery life, size. Like, what one do you care about? And if the answer was everything except money, I would say get some crazy Japanese thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer was everything, I would say get whatever the current Lenovo X2XX is.
right. It's nice and small. It's powerful enough. You just can't play crazy games on it.
But like my
and,
230,
even though it comes,
Scott, my 230, I play Civ 5 on it like all the time on
yeah,
airplanes.
but try to play like something,
Nah. But Civ 5 works fine.
Right. Sure.
That's what I need for my laptop.
Now, the other thing is that, ever since forever, even the 90s, this is an old problem, PCs have come with pre-installed garbage on them.
Yep.
And then, I've said this a million times, but I guess this is the show to say it again once and for all. The reputation of Windows is not a good reputation. Even people who are not computer experts, and many who are, hate Windows.
Now, some of that is legitimate. I mean, old versions of Windows.
Windows is not perfect by any means, but much of the bad reputation of Windows itself comes from the fact that most people who use Windows that came pre-installed on a computer with a bunch of garbage installed. And that if you use a clean Windows install from a disk and that has not been modified or had any garbage added to it in any way, it is vastly superior. This has been true even since like Windows 3.1 days. The computers had come with garbage that would ruin it, and you wouldn't get the real Windows experience, etc. So
Now, the benefit of Lenovo's was that they came with a comparatively small amount of garbageware,
Yes,
and it was all like Lenovo-owned like system configurator optimization.
I never
garbage.
ever buy a computer that has pre-installed shit, and when I do, because a laptop you had no choice really,
Yep.
I would clean install the Windows. So, and even the Lenovo though, you could get away without cleaning installing the Windows because they put on there, the only bullshit was like they replaced the Windows Wi-Fi thing with this other Wi-Fi thing.
Which you could just uninstall.
Right. And if you went to program settings, uninstall, and removed it, it actually removed, and the Windows Wi-Fi thing took over, and it worked just fine.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, this is actually not the worst. They didn't put like AOL icons. It was only like these system utilities things, and actually one of them was useful because the particular Wi-Fi thing that the card that's in there, at least on my Lenovo, Windows keeps popping up this thing occasionally when you connect to Wi-Fi where you have to click on yes. And one of the things that they pre-install is a patch to Windows that makes that dialogue not pop up.
You know that some engineer was like, "Motherfucker," and he just wrote a patch.
Yeah, it's like a stop Intel Wi-Fi pop-up thing, and you can actually see it in the program settings as a thing to uninstall. And you can go to the Lenovo website and download it and install it.
I did
make if you do a clean install of Windows, you can go get this thing and install it to make the pop-up stuff happening.
The one thing I left on my 230 was the battery management thing because it did give me a lot more accessible options.
Sure, I still hate that it replaces the real Windows battery software, which is perfectly fine.
But at least it added functionality, and I did see side-by-side comparisons where if you use it, the battery lasts longer.
Sure, I mean, that's obviously definitely possible, but why did they have to do that? Why couldn't they just make a battery power driver and have it installed via Windows Update, just like every other driver?
Yeah, well, no, I agree, but these are minor niggling issues.
Sure, that compared to the other options, Dells, HPs, etc., the Lenovo ThinkPad was like a dream in terms of not having a bunch of garbage pre-installed. You could get away without clean installing the Windows if you wanted to, right? Now, I've always said, Microsoft, this is really your fault. What you should do is you should say, hey, look, Dell, look, HP, look, whoever. You want to pre-install Windows on all these computers you're selling, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be able to sell them because you don't have an OS. You're going to put Linux on there? Ha, ha, ha. So we sell you Windows licenses at a bulk discount because your business is mad low margins. You need to have this discount on the Windows license because if you had to pay the full Windows license cost, man, you'd be as expensive as the Mac, and your hardware is garbage compared to that.
Yep.
And you can't make better hardware because you suck. So without our cheap Windows license, you're pretty much fucked. So here's the deal we're going to make you. We'll continue to sell you the discount Windows license. Maybe we'll even discount it further. If you agree to not pre-install any software whatsoever and deliver only the clean Windows experience that we have designed. If you pre-install anything whatsoever, then either we're not going to give you any contract, you can buy Windows licenses at full retail price, go fuck yourself. And if Microsoft had done that years ago, the reputation of Windows today would be much, much better. And, you know, even now, if they did it, it's a bit late. But better late than never. They could do this today as soon as their current contracts expire.
Yep.
But they don't, and they won't.
They didn't back then, so the people who sell computers to make more and more money would bundle a bunch of crapware that they were paid to bundle.
Yeah, some of the crapware they put, like the Lenovo Wi-Fi thing, it's like no one's paying for that. I don't know why they, you know.
Yeah, no one would go to a store and say, I would like to buy the Lenovo Power Manager for $5.
Right. But some other stuff they put on there, such as like, you know, install McAfee,
Yeah.
right? You know, that stuff, McAfee paid the money, you know, to put it on there, and that decreased the cost of the laptop, you know, which already has
I would argue it didn't decrease the cost of the laptop.
It already has a razor-thin margin, so it increased the margin, right? If you think about it that way.
So let's back up a little bit because there's one other piece of this puzzle before we get to what's going on here. So way back in 2005, when I still worked at IBM basically sold its PC business to Lenovo.
Right. IBM made computers.
And they made the best like business I do things with computers laptops there were for a long time.
The IBM ThinkPad.
Yeah.
And, you know, they also made pretty good desktops. And also, you know, we had an IBM desktop way back in the day.
So when that deal happened, I was super untrusting of Lenovo.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, they're selling this business off. Is the ThinkPad going to die, right?
They're selling it to some like dubious-looking Chinese company.
This company makes an important product that I want to buy, and they're selling that product to some shady company I never heard of. Is that product now going to be ruined, and I need to find something else to get instead? Is that what's going to happen here? I was very concerned, you know, even though IBM was still making, you know, giant servers that I'm never going to buy.
So the fears I saw online in general were, one, people were afraid that because it was a Chinese company, the hardware and the software and everything would be compromised for spy shit. And the other fear was that the hardware would just get shittier.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, this racism against China, but there's
Yeah.
also truth in some of that, right?
Yeah, there is, in fact.
You know.
Oh, and the third,
And there is
third fear was that there
What
would
was
be
that?
no more good support.
What was that Chinese cell phone company that made actually super shady cell phones that you
Oh,
don't want?
yeah, I almost used that as my news.
Right.
I've got it open in a tab here somewhere.
That was a year or two ago. But
Yeah,
I saw
I've got it
I've
in-
seen ads for their phones on the subway at like Metro PCS. You can get those.
Yeah, well, there was some recent news about that.
Really?
Yeah, but I didn't. It's a tab somewhere here. I'm not
Yeah,
even trying to find it.
anyway.
So that happened, and actually, I wouldn't buy any Lenovo stuff or IBM stuff until like a generation of products came out, and people said, "Oh, like the new laptops are pretty much just as good as the old laptops."
It's like, they pretty much just kept it going. They didn't fuck it up. Good job, Lenovo. You didn't fuck it up.
Yep.
At least
Well,
not right away.
Then Lenovo fucked it up. So what happened?
Just now they fucked it up.
They fucked it up in a way to where when this news first dropped, because this is pretty recent news, I assumed it was false.
Yeah.
Because there were reports that Lenovo laptops had bundled malware that was injecting ads.
Right. I assume that this was just like, they were definitely bundling something because they all bundle some bullshit, but that it was overblown and the truth was much, much tamer, as is often the case.
But no, it was underblown.
It was
turns
definitely
out
underblown.
Lenovo was bundling something called SuperFish, which is a fucking shady company to begin with. And
So SuperFish paid Lenovo money to put SuperFish software pre-installed onto laptops, and they did so for a period of time.
Yes. Now, details of what that relationship is are probably going to come out in the court cases that are coming out of all of this.
Sure.
It appears that the State Department is interested. Microsoft has already added SuperFish to their antivirus definitions.
Really, the government could also take action on this and say, you guys can't sell things with shit pre-installed.
They may well. There's already at least one
fact,
major lawsuit.
They could even say, if you're selling hardware, you can't have any software pre-installed.
The Department
make it come separately on a disk.
On Saturday, the Department of Homeland Security made a big fucking deal about this thing too.
Well, rightly so.
Yes. So this software, this SuperFish thing, I'll explain it in terms that everyone
Right, so
will
you
understand.
turn on your brand new computer, you log
Yes.
into Windows for the first time, and there's some SuperFish thing. What the fuck is that?
So you wouldn't know it's there. You would never see it. You wouldn't
It's not
know
in the
anything.
system tray. I'm sorry, notification area. It's not in the program settings where I can uninstall it.
Nope.
There's
it's,
no indication anywhere that I have this thing and can get rid of it like there is with the other softwares.
It's just malware. And what it does, one, is it literally...
And this wasn't something that somebody like snuck in the factory, like modifying the image that they were putting on all that was getting copied
Yeah.
to all the drives. This was something someone paid to have put in that image, and Lenovo said yes and put it there.
Yep, Mark Hopkins, who I forget what his job is at the Lenovo, but he basically was the one who said, like, we messed up with this, and we're gonna roll it back, and please stop being mad at us. And well, the funny thing is, at first, when this news first broke, they didn't say like, "Oh, fuck SuperFish," like we fucked up, we're sorry. We didn't know. They basically said we're temporarily suspending the rollout of SuperFish until we address these concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So already, fuck them. They were 100% in on this from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
One, it literally injects ads into your web browsing.
So if I'm browsing the web, there's going to be ads there. Is it going to replace ads I normally see? Like if I go to...
look at this screenshot. Went to Google, typed Intel 7260 AC.
So
and
that's
the
like
top
they're looking...
result,
they're searching for a router to buy.
The top result is this store where you can buy it that was injected by the malware, and then the visual search results, which were also injected by the malware.
So it actually modified the Google search results page and added stuff to that page, even though, in addition to not replacing anything Google put there, but adding more shit.
Yes, it may have done more too.
So could not Google sue SuperFish for doing this?
We'll see what happens. Like I said,
Because I'm pretty sure Google's way bigger than SuperFish.
this went
And
down
Lenovo.
really recently, and like the lawsuits are just beginning as of today.
Mm-hmm.
So it injected ads and spied on all your browsing behavior. It also included...
Where did it send your browsing behavior? To SuperFish?
Where I'd up here, so yes.
Some Chinese server somewhere?
We're gonna find out.
Okay.
So it did more too. It injected a self-signed certificate and left a ready-made man-in-the-middle SSL attack. So if you use one of these computers, you go to Gmail, Yeah, Gmail has that lock. It's certified SSL. Your communication's encrypted. Through their certificate locally, so they can spy on literally everything you do.
Oh, so I'm communicating with Gmail with just HTTP and not HTTPS?
Well, basically, they're using their own certificate so they can decrypt your communication. There's a man-in-the-middle attack.
So I'm communicating with Google with SSL, but I'm not using the certificate that my computer would normally use. I'm using one that they made, right? So it's like if I'm making a phone call and I think I'm holding my phone, but I'm actually calling their office first, and then they're making the call to Google. Even though it's encrypted, they're decrypting everything because it's...
So I try to call my bank. My phone actually calls Scott. Scott just passes me right through to Google and records the whole conversation.
I take two phones and hold one of them upside down.
Yep.
So he's talking to the bank. But I'm listening in. I got it next to my head.
In fact, here's a screenshot showing the certificate. This shit is just egregious. Like, this is the kind of thing
so you think
that
that you are doing perfectly safe web browsing because you go to your bank's website, you go to Google, you read your Gmail, and that green lock is green. But that's because something has been added to your web browser in advance.
So even better.
Did they just add this to the IE that is part of the computer? If you install a Chrome like separately, would it then...
I saw some reports that Firefox at least did not use that key store. But I'm not.
It adds it to like
sure.
a Windows key store that's shared between
OS
browsers.
level.
So if you use a different browser or something like that doesn't use that, you might not be spied upon.
Maybe I haven't. I don't have anything with SuperFish on it.
But even still, any normal application that
Microsoft
just uses
Firefox is not affected or does not appear to be affected by the man-in-the-middle issue because it maintains its own certificate store.
But the
ads are still injected.
The ads are still there because it's basically looking at all outgoing HTTP traffic, probably on a lower level.
So listen to this shit-eating response. This is an official response from Lenovo.
Lenovo or SuperFish?
Lenovo.
So who's SuperFish? Where's
this
company?
This is the shady-ass company that provides this software. They're basically the Bonsai Buddy.
Right, but who are they? What have they said?
I believe they're an Israeli company.
Okay.
And I don't want to talk a lot about what SuperFish is because there's a lot of conflicting information as to who might really be behind this, and there's a lot of...
conspiracy nuts?
Yes. But at the same time, some of what they're saying actually pretty legitimate. I haven't done enough research.
It could be anyone. Anyway.
SuperFish is a private advertising company that develops various super generic company.
It's just an evil advertising company with no morals. Okay, continue.
But it was made by, there's a bunch of information. It was made by this guy who graduated from Tel Aviv University.
Yeah, right.
Multiple links, computer surveillance industry. There's a weird chain of custody of...
Is there a note on this Wikipedia page about, needing, change?
No, there's citations for all these things.
Alrighty then.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to get into that stuff, but the self-signed certificate's password was also discovered. So basically, there is a built-in vulnerability. I, myself, can sign shit using the same certificate that is built into your Lenovo computer.
So the certificate that was, added to all these computers that shouldn't have been there... Right, is an easily decrypted certificate because
the password is Komodia.
The password is a stupid password that someone figured out and distributed. So anyone who knows that password, which is literally anyone who wants to, and has a copy of OpenSSL, and
Komodia is yet another shady company.
Oh.
Komodia, quote from another article, a company that brazenly calls one of its software development kits an SSL hijacker.
So the password for the certificate used in the SuperFish shitty software is the name of a shady company that does something similar and related, implying that the same people were behind both things.
So that shady-ass software is in a ton of other programs, it looks like, and is widely deployed as malware on the internet.
So basically what happens is people
and
who
most of those companies are Israeli.
So people want to make a shitty malware, and they want to snoop HTTP traffic, including SSL traffic, so they buy Komodia and put Komodia in their software. SuperFish is really a customer of Komodia. They're like, man, we got to snoop on the SSL traffic too to get our ads in there. Let's pay Komodia money for their thing that lets us snoop on the SSL traffic with this certificate.
So I suspect that at least one of the parties involved here was just greedy. And another party involved here is actively malicious, either on behalf of, shady darknet hackers, whatever, or, government spying, NSA, whatever.
Right, so not only is SuperFish spying in all your shit, but because they're spying in all your shit, you've basically now have a big wide open back door for anyone who knows anything about computers to spy on your shit also.
So the response to this has been massive. Microsoft added it to their antivirus definitions basically immediately. The NSA, Homeland Security, everyone is going apeshit. There's lawsuits against Lenovo. And Lenovo's shit-eating statement, which is what I was getting back to, I got to find my tab again, really gets to the crux of this. Quote, let's see. SuperFish was previously included on some consumer notebook products shipped in a short window between September and December to help customers potentially discover interesting products while shopping.
That is what it does.
Yep, that is also one of the more shit-eating things I have ever read.
3 months that there was on. Okay.
Further quote.
How many laptops did they sell in those? At least it's not us.
Oh, yeah, it's not us for
I mean,
sure.
how many?
I don't trust that there isn't a vulnerability on my Lenovo, though.
Yeah, but it would be in the hardware or something, right?
Yeah.
Because I clean installed the Windows.
Quote, further quote, we have
Unless
thoroughly...
it's in the pop-up removing patch.
Yeah. We have thoroughly investigated this technology and do not find any evidence to substantiate security concerns.
Well, you have not researched it thoroughly enough because everyone else did.
But we know that users reacted to this issue with concern, and so we have taken direct action to stop shipping any products with this software. We will continue to review
actually,
what
you
we
said
do.
you stopped in December, but this is February already. So what happened in January?
Yeah.
Why
so
didn't you ship it in January?
Basically, here's the result. Never buy any Lenovo product again because that company cannot be trusted. This was a supreme breach. Either they are greedy and incompetent and let these other shitware companies and these spies get into their software, or they're complicit in it. Either one is equally bad.
You need to never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, buy a computer that has anything except a clean OS installed. And Apple is actually, despite us saying that things about them in the early part of the show, they're not perfect, but one thing Apple has always gotten right is they don't allow anyone to fuck with the software that's installed on the devices. That's a large reason that they also make the hardware. Way back in the day, way back, right? When Steve Jobs ran the original show, it was, he was selling Apple products. And then he got really mad when people were selling Macs that weren't made by Apple. Right? There were Macs that were not made by Apple. It was just like, PCs where anyone could make one. And he was super pissed. And he's like, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. And, on the one hand, it's like, well, I sort of think they should be allowed to do that. Even today, I think people should be allowed to, make a computer and just install OS X on it. But he was correct in some ways in that, even though I think that having different hardware is not really ruining the experience, at least compared to the one-button mouse of the official Mac.
Yeah.
Someone fucking with the software and giving you something other than just the OS, putting other software in that you did not want, right? That should not be allowed pretty much ever, right? It's like if I go to the store and buy an apple and I say, I would like this apple, please, and they put a banana in my bag with the apple. It's like, what the fuck? I don't want the banana. I mean, no, when free banana, I might not complain. I might want the free banana.
But what if the banana has microchips in it?
What if it's a poison banana? What if it's a bad old banana they're just trying to get rid of because they all turn brown? Or a banana they can't sell because it's too green and it's going to go from green to brown because you know how bananas are. Or, who knows what. But it's like,
I do know how bananas are because I currently actually own too many bananas, and I'm every morning for 2 days.
I only have one left. I'll take some.
Take some bananas because I looked at them this morning. I was like, whoa, those got way more yellow than they should be by today.
Yeah, I'm going to make some banana bread.
They were green yesterday.
Today is National Banana Bread Day.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No.
Now you did.
I should use some banana bread.
Go for it. Right. You should not be able to force upon someone something in addition to what they are buying from you, right? So if I buy a copy of OS X or a copy of Windows, you should not be able to force or even attempt to trick me into taking additional things that I do not want.
What if those things are now just part of the operating system? Like a web browser.
We had a discussion about that.
I know. And I think
right, but I mean, it should be clear that, what's included in the package, right? And
Lenovo or Microsoft I guess Microsoft has a vested interest in not being party to this, could just buy this SuperFish stuff and just, it's our software. It's Lenovo's software.
That's the thing. But it's not. It's Microsoft software.
Yeah.
It's Lenovo's hardware.
The real answer is...
But yeah, Apple, notice how you buy a MacBook, it's got OS X on it. You buy an iPhone, they don't let Verizon put shit on the iPhone, you buy it from Verizon, right? But the Android phones are full of garbage from the manufacturers and the carriers.
This has been a problem for a long time, but it's never been this severe of a problem, at least not in a publicly identifiable way. The level of breach that this Lenovo vulnerability is to the point where you should literally burn all commercial ties with Lenovo and never, ever buy one of their products again.
Now, wait, what if I'm from a company and I got to buy computers for my employees and I got to buy laptops, but every single company that makes laptops is pre-installing some kind of shit on there.
I would still go with anyone but Lenovo because Lenovo didn't just install shit, they installed active malware.
All right, so who am I going for?
I don't know, Dell.
Great. Thanks. That's really going to help.
That's fine.
My employees will be so happy with their garbage laptops.
Your employees don't even know, and anyone who knows is at a company where they just buy their own laptop with the corporate card.
Luckily, the Microsoft Surface, made by at least I don't know if it's Microsoft actually manufactures the hardware, but it doesn't seem like they pre-install any bullshit on there. It seems like it's just Windows because it's the Microsoft Surface.
Well, you know what? Too, I had to buy a bunch of computers for work, right? Just because the CTO was busy.
Yep.
So I use that iBuyPower. And it comes like those PCs just come with a completely clean Windows.
Yeah, iBuyPower is basically go on Newegg, design the computer, but with some more limited choices,
and we'll build it.
And they put it together for you to save you the trouble. But it's otherwise just like a computer you would have made. Perhaps even better because the guy wiring it wired like 50 computers today.
And if there is some sort of secret nefarious vulnerability in it, it's at least secret and hidden and no one knows about it.
No one said anything, which means
this Lenovo thing is just like a disaster from every perspective.
Yeah.
So you can't trust them because even if they're not evil, they're desperately incompetent. At least if Dell is doing something evil, they're competent enough to hide it.
If you're going to spend $1,000+ in a computer, you don't want one from someone so incompetent and or evil.
Yup. And really, it's the statements Lenovo made is why I feel that way. Because the level of shit that was eaten.
The statement they should have said was, we installed SuperFish on the computers during this time period because they paid us money to do so, and we admit we were incompetent.
Yep.
Because you can't admit you're evil.
If they had disavowed
you have
SuperFish,
to. We
day
admit
one.
that we were incompetent and did not realize how horrible the software was. We did realize it eventually. And that's why we stopped allowing it in January. And we already have a patch on our website where you can go get a thing that will remove it.
Yep. But no, the fact that they said they evaluated it and thought it was fine and only recanted later when people proved they were lying.
Right. You just admit the incompetence from the get-go, because otherwise you got to admit the evil, which is not...
Yep.
You can't be doing that.
So my X230 will be the last Lenovo product I will ever own. Luckily, I won't need another laptop for like 5 more years.
Yeah,
at the rate we're going.
Literally all I need the laptop for these days is the few things, if I'm on the go, that a tablet cannot do.
Here's what I do. 1, typing a whole bunch of shit. That's what I use my laptop for. 2, actually editing video.
I have Premiere on my iPad if I just need to get the iPad that has more storage space.
Yes.
I don't even need...
3, play Civ 5.
I don't even need the laptop to do presentations because I bought the iPad to HDMI cable.
Yeah. Will that work with VGA?
No, but if there is a VGA, then I have a laptop.
Yep.
But there's no reason for me to get a new laptop. This one is going to be just fine for pretty much ever. And if I need to play a fancy game on it, which I never ever do, I can Steam stream.
Well, you can't Steam stream like on a plane.
But I can Steam stream in my bed.
Yeah, that's true.
And I wouldn't want to Steam stream on a plane. I would not Steam stream on a plane. I would not Steam stream
with a cane
in the rain. Because then my laptop would go in the wetness.
I think we're done here. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.